Have you ever been talking to a guy, everything feels great, and then out of nowhere he pulls back, gets distant, says something that just feels off? You didn't do anything wrong, but suddenly he's watching you differently, like he's waiting to see how you'll react. Here's what most women don't realize. When a man is genuinely interested in you, he doesn't just feel attraction, he puts it to the test. Not in a manipulative gameplay way, but in a subconscious way. He wants to know, can she handle pressure? Will she overreact? Can I trust her with the deeper parts of me? You're being tested not to fail, but to prove you're the kind of woman who doesn't flinch, fold, or fake it when things get real. These tests aren't random. They're deliberate, and they tell him everything he needs to know about who you really are. So, if you've ever felt confused when a guy suddenly changed the vibe, stopped texting back as fast, or said something that made you second guess yourself, you're not crazy. You were being evaluated. And tonight, we're going to break it all down, every silent test, every subtle move, and show you exactly how to pass without losing yourself, chasing him, or pretending to be someone you're not. By the end of this video, you'll see dating through a lens most women never do. And trust me, once you know the truth, you can never unseen it. Let's get into it. So, why do men even test women in the first place? Here's the truth. Most dating advice skips over. Men test not out of cruelty, but out of clarity. It's not always conscious, it's not always strategic, but it's very real. When a man starts to genuinely care about a woman, when he sees her as more than just a passing interest, his emotional risk increases, the stakes get higher, his walls go up, and suddenly his instincts kick in. You see, masculine energy is wired for self-protection, especially emotionally. For a man to truly open up, trust, and invest in a woman long-term, his brain needs to feel safe and his emotions need to feel anchored. So how does he figure out if you're the real deal? Someone who brings peace, stability, and emotional safety into his world. He observes. He subtly pokes, not to manipulate you, but to see if your reactions reveal the truth beneath your surface. He might tease you a little to see if you're secure in yourself or if you get defensive. He might go quiet for a bit, not because he's ghosting, but because he wants to see how you handle distance. Do you panic? Do you chase? Or do you hold your ground with self-respect? It's not about games, it's about emotional pattern recognition. Men, especially emotionally mature ones, are watching for consistency, not just chemistry. They want to know, is she still kind when she's confused, still respectful when she's disappointed, still grounded when she doesn't get her way? Because for a man who's serious about love, not just attraction, these moments are where your true emotional posture shows up. Some women fail these tests without ever knowing they were being tested. They assume he lost interest. They think they need to try harder, text more, fix it. But that's the trap. And it often backfires. A woman who passes these tests, she doesn't chase, she doesn't perform, she doesn't get thrown off by uncertainty. She remains rooted in her own value, and that's what shifts everything in how he sees her. Psychologically, men crave a balance. They want to feel both drawn to you and safe with you. That's rare. Many women offer spark, but no stability. Others offer comfort, but no challenge. The women who stand out, the ones men test and choose, offer both. The bottom line is this: men test because they want confirmation. They want to feel not just here that you are who you appear to be, that when emotions run high or pressure sets in, you'll show up as someone who's not reactive, not desperate, but real. That kind of woman, she's unforgettable. And if you're watching this, there's a good chance you're becoming her. Let's talk about the exact tests next. Now that you understand why men test, let's look at how it actually shows up, because chances are you've experienced these silent tests before and didn't even realize it. The first test is what I call the subtle withdrawal. It usually happens early on, maybe after a great date or a few days of consistent texting. Out of nowhere, his communication slows down. He's not as quick to respond. He may even go a full day or two without reaching out, and instantly your mind starts spinning. Did I say something wrong? Is he losing interest? Should I double text? What you may not realize is this moment isn't always a sign he's backing out. In many cases, he's actually watching to see how you respond to uncertainty. Do you collapse into anxiety and try to fix it? Do you mirror the space and stay grounded? This isn't about being cold. It's about whether your sense of self depends on his constant attention. High-value women don't panic over silence. They observe and protect their energy. The second silent test is what I call the playful pressure. He'll say something that challenges your opinions, your preferences, or even your boundaries, not to offend you, but to see if you'll bend just to please him. For example, he might say, "You really don't like watching sports, that's kind of boring." Or maybe he jokes about your goals, your job, or your standards. It seems playful, but there's intention behind it. He's trying to find out, will you hold your position or will you downplay your truth just to stay agreeable? When a woman shifts herself just to keep a man happy, he notices, and not in a good way. The most attractive response isn't being defensive or passive. It's being calmly grounded, smiling and saying, "Yeah, not a fan of sports, but I'm definitely not boring." Sends a message, "I know who I am and I'm not here to audition." The third test is emotional probing. At some point, he'll say or do something that causes a slight emotional sting. Maybe it's a delayed reply after you shared something personal. Maybe it's making plans and then cancelling last minute. It's not necessarily a red flag, but it is a moment that causes a reaction. And again, he's watching. How do you handle disappointment? Do you spiral, blame, lash out, or do you acknowledge it and keep your self-respect intact? These silent moments are where your emotional maturity either shines or cracks. Most men won't even admit they're doing this because half the time it's subconscious, but they remember how you made them feel in those little tests. And the woman who passes, she becomes the woman who stands out. Not because she's perfect, but because she's authentic under pressure. Let's break these down even further with real-world examples, because how you handle these tests sets the tone for everything that follows. Here's the part no one talks about. It's not the test that defines the connection. It's how you respond to it. And that response, it tells him everything he needs to know, sometimes without you saying a single word, when a man starts to feel something real. When he's considering letting his guard down, he's not just looking for beauty or even chemistry. He's looking for emotional safety. He's scanning for patterns and how you respond in moments of tension. Even small ones gives him a window into who you really are under pressure, under confusion, under uncertainty. If he pulls back for a few days and your first reaction is to chase, double text, over-explain or assume the worst, he sees that not because he's judging you, but because he's taking mental notes. Can she handle not having control? Can she trust the process? Or will she start panicking the moment something doesn't go her way? Now, let's be clear. Men aren't looking for women who never feel emotion. They're looking for women who know how to manage their emotional response in a way that's rooted in self-worth. So if he challenges your opinion and your immediate instinct is to agree, even when it goes against what you believe, you're not being agreeable. You're abandoning yourself. And the truth is, high-quality men don't want someone who folds. They want someone who can calmly hold her own, not from ego, but from truth. When he makes a mistake, forgets something, or disappoints you and you lash out, give the silent treatment, or start a drama spiral, you may think you're teaching him a lesson. But what you're actually showing him is that your emotions manage you, not the other way around. That you haven't yet built the emotional regulation that long-term love requires. But imagine instead he pulls back and you notice it. You don't ignore it, you're aware, but you don't overreact. You let him be, you continue living, you stay connected to yourself. That kind of energy stuns men because it's so rare. Most women chase or collapse. But you stay rooted. That doesn't mean being cold. It means being clear. It means knowing that your value isn't tied to how fast someone replies or how much validation you're getting in the moment. And that calm, grounded response, that's what makes a man lean in, even if he pulled back. Because in a world full of reactivity, your ability to stay centered is what sets you apart. Not just as a partner, but as a woman who knows herself. And in the next part, we're going to talk about what high-value women do in these exact situations and why it instantly changes how a man sees them. So let's get into the part you've probably been waiting for. The high-value reactions that make men stop and think, whoa, she's different. These are the kinds of responses that don't just pass the test, they shift the entire dynamic. They change how a man's soul house up. They create space for deeper connection. And the best part, you don't have to perform, chase, or fake anything. In fact, the most powerful reactions are often the simplest ones. Let's start here. When a man pulls back or gets distant, your instinct might be to do more. Reach out, ask what's wrong, fix it. That's natural. We're wired for connection. But here's the secret. High V value women don't chase clarity. They embody it. So instead of reacting to his distance with fear, they respond with presence. A high-value response might look like taking a breath and saying, I noticed you've been quiet. If you need space, I respect that. I'm here when you're ready. Calm, direct, zero drama. Do you feel the energy of that? It's not cold. It's not passive-aggressive. It's rooted in self-respect. And that hits different. Because when a woman can hold emotional space without spiraling, without turning silence into self-doubt, it signals to a man, she doesn't need me to regulate her, she's already whole. That kind of energy is rare and magnetic. Let's take another example. Say he teases you or lightly challenges something you care about, maybe your career, your opinions, your boundaries. A low-value response might be to get defensive, shut down, or people please. But a high-value reaction, it's playful and firm. Something like you're allowed to have your opinion doesn't mean I'm changing mine. Delivered with a smile, not a wall. See what that does? It keeps the connection open while holding your ground. That's the exact balance that emotionally mature men are drawn to. Strength without hostility. And then there are the small moments when plans fall through, when texts slow down, when something feels off. Most women immediately interpret these moments through fear. What did I do wrong? But high-value women interpret them through neutrality. If something's off, I'll fit. Eel it. If it's meant for me, it won't need chasing. That calm, almost unbothered energy. It's not indifference, it's deep self-rust. And men feel it. They feel when you're secure enough to not perform, to not prove, to not push. And that energy creates a mirror. It makes him want to step up, not pull away. So ask yourself right now, how do you usually respond in those small test moments? And more importantly, what would it feel like to respond from your power instead of your fear? Because the moment you do, everything changes. In the next part, we're going even deeper. How to tell when a test becomes manipulation and how to never confuse the two again. Now let's talk about something that absolutely needs to be said because this is where a lot of women get stuck, confused, or even hurt. What's the difference between a man testing you and a manipulating you? It can be subtle and it's not always obvious at first, but knowing the difference is everything. Here's the truth. Not all tests are healthy, not all pullbacks are innocent, and not all challenges are signs of emotional depth. Some are signs of control, some are rooted in fear, insecurity, or emotional immaturity. And if you don't know how to spot the difference, you can end up stuck in a dynamic that chips away at your self-worth. So let's break it down. When a man is testing you from a healthy place, it comes from curiosity, not control. It's unconscious most of the time. He's trying to figure out, can I trust her? Is she emotionally safe? Can she meet me where I am? Even if it feels confusing, there's a respect underneath it. You still feel seen. You still feel like yourself. Your voice isn't being silenced, it's being watched, but manipulation, that's a completely different energy. It comes with a power imbalance. It's not about knowing you, it's about controlling you. And the biggest sign, you feel like you're constantly on edge, like you can't be yourself without consequences, like you're walking on eggshells trying to do it right so he doesn't pull away, shut down or flip on you. When a man tests you, he might pull back to observe. When a manipulates, he pulls back to punish. A healthy test feels like a moment. A manipulation pattern feels like a cycle. You'll notice a loop. He gives just enough to hook you, then takes it away. He pushes buttons, then blames you for reacting. You'll feel anxious, confused, but still hopeful. That's the trap. Here's the line. If your self-worth starts to shrink in his presence, it's not a test anymore. It's emotional control. And no emotionally available man plays games like that ever. You never have to win someone over by tolerating emotional mistreatment. A real connection will never make you doubt your value. And a healthy man, he might test you unconsciously, but the moment he sees you're consistent, emotionally grounded and secure, he stops testing. He starts trusting. So trust your body. Trust the shift in your energy. If you feel more drained than empowered around him, that's your sign. Because real love doesn't leave you guessing. It doesn't test your limits. It respects them. And in the next part, we're getting into exactly what men want emotionally. Not what they say they want, but what actually makes them feel safe enough to stay. Here's where we move past surface level attraction and into what actually makes a man stay, invest, and feel emotionally connected. Emotional availability, not yours, his, and how it connects to what he truly wants from a woman he sees as more than a temporary spark. A lot of women believe that if they're kind, supportive, beautiful, and easy to be around, that should be enough. And on the surface, it sounds reasonable. But for a man to truly bond, not just date, not just sleep with, but bond, he needs something deeper. He needs to feel that it's safe to be emotionally available with you. And here's the catch. Most men have never been taught how to express their feelings safely. They've been taught to suppress, to solve, to perform. Vulnerability feels foreign, risky, even weak, but that doesn't mean they don't want it. It just means they only bring that side out when they sense it won't be used against them. When it won't cost them their dignity or safety, that's what he's searching for. Not just someone who listens, but someone who can hold space without rushing in to fix him, change him, or make his emotions about her. A woman who doesn't panic when he doesn't have all the answers. A woman who doesn't interpret every moment of quiet as rejection. He wants peace, not perfection. He wants presence. And most of all, he wants to feel that his emotional truth, when he's finally ready to share it, will be met with empathy, not judgment. You don't have to be his therapist. You don't have to be endlessly patient. But you do have to be real, authentic, grounded enough in your emotions that you can receive his without fear or control. When a man sees that he can open up without being told he's broken, he will go deeper. When he realizes you're not there to fix him, but to understand him, he starts to lean in more. Because what men want, what they rarely say out loud, is emotional freedom. The freedom to just be who they are in that moment without performance. And here's what's beautiful. When a man feels safe emotionally, everything else flows. The communication deepens. The connection softens. The physical chemistry grows stronger because now he's not just with a woman. He's with a partner, a teammate, someone who's not just pretty to look at, but safe to be seen by. That's the level most relationships never reach. And it's why so many connections burn out before they ever get real. But you're learning the difference. And in the next part, we'll dive into how to keep that connection alive. Not by playing hard to get, but by staying mysterious in the most powerful way possible. Let's talk about mystery. Not the kind that plays games, disappears on purpose, or tries to create artificial scarcity. That's not mystery. That's manipulation in disguise. And the truth is, high V-value women don't need to play hard to get because they already are hard to get simply by being fully rooted in themselves. Real mystery, the kind that keeps a man intrigued, leaning in and genuinely curious, comes from you not giving him everything all at once. It's not about withholding affection or creating distance to keep him chasing. It's about being so connected to your own world, your own life, your own energy, that he wants to keep discovering you. Because here's the thing most women forget. You don't owe full access to someone just because there's a connection. Let that sink in. You're allowed to share yourself slowly. You're allowed to hold sacred space for the parts of you that are still unfolding. And the moment you stop performing or over-explaining, the moment you stop trying to prove your worth, you become instantly more magnetic. A woman becomes mysterious when she doesn't center her entire emotional world around one man. When she has things going on outside of him, passions, goals, friendships, rituals that nourish her, that's what creates depth. That's what makes him think about you when you're not around. Men are drawn to depth. They may not say it, but they feel it. They're drawn to the woman who doesn't reveal everything in the first few conversations, who answers questions honestly, but doesn't rush to fill every silence, who can sit across from him, smile, and not need anything from him in that moment because she's already full. That's not cold. That's powerful. Mystery doesn't mean being unreadable. It means being unpredictable in a real way, being true to your energy. One day you're playful and laughing over coffee. Another day you're reflective and introspective. You're still you, just layered, just not always on. And that makes a man want to earn access to men. Oh, the deeper parts of you. So if you've ever wondered, how do I keep him interested without losing myself? The answer is you stay in your life, you stay in your body, you stay in your power, and you don't rush to hand someone the keys to your heart until they've proven they know how to treat it. Let him discover you, not consume you, because the women who are unforgettable are the ones who don't just attract attention. They hold it through presence, through depth, and through self-respect. And in the next part, we'll talk about exactly how to embody that even more with self-respect as your secret weapon. Let's talk about the one thing that changes everything in how a man sees you, how you feel about yourself, and how your relationships evolve. Self-respect, not just confidence, not just high standards. I'm talking about a deep, unshakable sense that you are whole, valuable, and worthy with or without his validation. Because here's the truth, men can feel when a woman respects herself. It's not something you have to say. It's something that lives in your tone, your pace, your choices. And when a woman operates from self-respect, it shifts the entire energy of the relationship. She doesn't chase. She doesn't beg for clarity. She doesn't try to prove that she's enough because she already knows she is. When a man tests her, pulls back, challenges her, delays communication, she doesn't take it personally. She sees it as information. She observes but doesn't obsess. She doesn't twist herself into someone else just to keep his interest. She remains true to who she is, even if that means he walks away, because she knows that losing someone who can't meet her with respect is not a loss. It's protection. That kind of self-respect is magnetic, it's rare, and it's exactly what makes a man respect you back. Because here's the thing, most people won't tell you. Attraction gets attention, but respect builds connection. You can be the most beautiful, charming, supportive woman in the room, but if you don't respect yourself, he won't either. Not because he's cruel, but because use energetically. We teach people how to treat us by how we treat ourselves. When you hold your boundaries without over-explaining, when you say no with softness but certainty, when you stop entertaining inconsistency because you'd rather be alone than disrespected, you create an atmosphere around you that says this is a woman who values herself. If you want access, show up right. That doesn't mean being cold or guarded. It means being clear. It means recognizing that your energy is a privilege and not everyone deserves front row seats to your life. Self-respect is what allows you to walk away from confusion even when you still have feelings. It's what lets you hold silence when silence is the only answer that makes sense. And it's what keeps your power in your hands instead of placing it in someone else's. A man may not always say it out loud, but when he senses your self-respect, he rises or he walks. And either outcome is a win for you, because a woman who honors herself doesn't just pass tests, she changes the entire game. And now let's wrap this all together with the final thoughts that bring it full circle. We've covered a lot in this video. The tests men give, how to respond with emotional intelligence, the power of self-respect, and the fine line between healthy testing and manipulation. Now it's time for some real talk. No fluff, just the core truth you need to carry forward. Here it is. You are your own highest value. No man can give you worth. No relationship can create your confidence. It starts with you. How you see yourself, how you treat yourself, and how you allow others to treat you. Everything else flows from that. Men may test you. It's natural. It's part of how they figure out if you're safe to love. But remember, their tests are never the final word on your value. Your response, calm, grounded, clear, is what truly speaks volumes. Don't get caught up in the game of chasing approval or validation. The moment you shift your focus inward to your own standards and boundaries, you transform every interaction. You become magnetic without trying. You become undeniable because you're rooted in your truth. And here's something else that's crucial. Not every man is worth your time or energy. Some will test you out of insecurity or immaturity. Others genuinely want connection and growth. Your job is to listen to your intuition and watch how he treats you over time. Not just what he says, but what he does. Trust that when you show up as your authentic self, you attract the right kind of man. The one who respects your boundaries, values your presence, and wants to build something real with you. So take these lessons and use them to build your confidence and clarity. Practice responding instead of reacting. Hold your ground without hardening your heart. Stay mysterious by staying true. And above all, lead with self-respect, because at the end of the day, the way you honor yourself sets the tone for every relationship you have, romantic or otherwise. Thank you for watching and investing your time here. If this video resonated with you, hit like, share with your friends, and subscribe for more honest conversations like this. Drop your thoughts or questions in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Remember, your worth isn't negotiable. Own it, live it, and watch how your relationships transform.